Hello, my friend. You join me on the coziest night ever. It is a rainstorm, and it's nice and crisp and cool, but in here it's warm and relaxing. So I hope you're doing as well as possible. Let me know if there's anything I can do to make you more comfortable during our Reiki session. This is your time to relax, to unwind. Maybe I'm here helping you fall asleep. And maybe we're just hanging out. Whatever it is, I hope you're doing as well as possible and taking this time to really nurture yourself. So I'm going to take off my rings and put some hand cream on because I want to just start by talking to you about how to trust your intuition. Your intuition is accessed through your third eye. Through your third eye here. And you can also, your gut reaction to things through the sacral. So it's a kind of this melange of your third eye and your sacral chakra, your gut reaction, and then your inner wisdom interpreting that gut reaction. So having a balance of the third eye and the sacral is really helpful when we're talking about our intuition. That being said, how we can trust our intuition is one of my favorite moisturizing creams. It's very medical. It doesn't have a very romantic kind of look, but I'm going to use some of this. So the question is, how can we have, trust our intuition when we have a dysregulated nervous system? So by that I mean, I'll go ahead and put some of this cream on your hands. Take your right hand. So by that I mean how to have do your left hand, a sense of trust for your own inner guidance and wisdom when maybe you have your sensor for anxiety or stress is really, really sensitive. It's sort of like a motion sensor light or camera. That light will come on. If it's really sensitive, it'll come on, even if it's just a leaf blowing in the wind. And other people have a much more relaxed sensor where it'll only come on if something that's very, very threatening comes into their view, into their experience. So the question really is, how can we trust our inner guidance when we have maybe grown up in a circumstance or situation of trauma, maybe complex, PTSD, when there are when you maybe had a childhood that wasn't supportive or nurturing, maybe you were neglected in some way. But regardless, when you just find yourself in high states of anxiety, particularly we're going to be talking about anxiety here, how can we trust our intuition saying, this situation doesn't seem right, versus that sensitive sensor that kind of goes off willy-nilly? So how can we trust that? And the first thing that I want to say here about our intuition, what I've learned about my intuition is that the intuition is a sort of calm voice. If you have this feeling that you're constantly engaging in mental chatter that goes, but if I do this, then this is going to happen. If I do this, and this is going to happen. And this is going to happen. And this could happen. And what if we do this? And what if... The intuition is sort of a voice that comes almost underneath or behind all of that. It's a calm, centered voice. And usually your intuition, it doesn't have the answer, right? From my experience, your intuition isn't going to come up and say, you should do this because then this and this and this won't happen, or this and this and this will happen. So what the intuition tends to do is guide you to look in a different direction. So it'll tend to guide you to look in a direction that feels more aligned. So your intuition might not say, don't trust this person. If you do, then this is going to happen. Or if you trust this person, then you won't get this. Or what instead your intuition might say is, how are you feeling right now? Clock how you're feeling. Your intuition might say, take a pause. Your intuition might feel like a question. Very often it's going to invite you to do some searching. I'm just going to use this beautiful aura mist to kind of coat your aura in very balanced, soothing energy. We have some lovely eucalyptus, tea tree, lavender, and cedarwood. When I was healing my nervous system is something that I've had to do over the years, and it's still in process, and I'm still, this is a practice, right? I think that's part of my errand here, is to regulate my nervous system, become more acquainted with myself. And that's kind of the errand of most of us here, especially seekers, is to heal ourselves and keep asking questions. The one thing I've realized is that when I've wanted concrete certainty and asked my intuition for guidance, is this going to happen? If I do this, what will happen? Then your intuition starts to kind of become a bit more mercurial, fade a bit. Whereas it's kind of braiding that into your aura. Whereas if you have an inner kind of constant kind of dialogue with your intuition, where maybe you meditate just for a few moments every morning with a crystal on your brow, then you have this dialogue, this relationship with your intuition. And your intuition, instead of saying, oh, don't do this, do this instead, do this instead, is there to say, oh, there's something here. You can trust your discernment. So there was a situation that I was in where I had to choose a different path. There was I could go with several different people, and I was having to choose a different path for kind of a big situation. And when I was in that process of deciding, I was leaning towards one, and my intuition was just kind of saying, question this, ask more questions. And when I did that, when I kind of took a pause instead of getting caught up in the external pressures of making a decision that I didn't feel like I was ready for, I started to uncover information that I felt was really, really helpful for me in making that decision. So intuition is more about helping you to see that you are safe as you are, that you are safe to take a pause, that you are safe to lean back and to trust, and that if you start to recognize that your emotions, that you're having a strong emotional response to someone or something, you can take your time to process that. One helpful thing when you are regulating your nervous system is to recognize that this is a lifelong pursuit. This is a lifelong path that you're going to be walking. And the fact that you're here, the fact that you are wanting to heal yourself, that's what matters. That's already igniting tons of mechanisms within you to start that healing process as well. So I really want you to start to trust. Your intuition is all about trust. You have the answers within you. What we need to do is to learn how to regulate our nervous system. And once we are in a state of, when rest and digest, when our parasympathetic nervous system has been activated, keyed into, then we can start to really discern our intuition from our anxiety. I'm going to take a stone and place it on your third eye. I'm going to place this spiderweb jasper right on your third eye. This is a great one for intuition, for helping a scattered mind to focus, for helping you to see the woods for the trees, to have perspective, for helping you to parse through things that feel muddy and uncertain. So I'm going to place this right on your third eye. Beautiful, beautiful. So now I'm just going to start to regulate your nervous system, help you to regulate your nervous system here in the root chakra. So what you can start to do is slow your breathing and arrive right here and now. This present moment holds all the answers. One thing I would tell you about your intuition is that if you come to your intuition seeking certainty, you will probably come up empty-handed. Clarity is a better thing to search for. Clarity. And of removing your own blockages. These are helpful mechanisms. If instead of fighting uncertainty, we can try to embrace it as part of the mystery of life, that if we knew everything that was going to happen to us before we even took our first breath, what would be the point of living at all? Living is about step by step, day by day, moment by moment, being here, having the experience of life here on earth. It's such a gift, but it comes at the cost of uncertainty. And so if you can have a great deal of clarity about yourself, about what you want, that's such a worthwhile pursuit and endeavor. What do you want? What do you want out of this life? What is it that you, what is it that lights your soul on fire? How do you react and respond to different circumstances, different external stimuli? How do you respond? Getting really clear on that can be so helpful. So I'm just sending Reiki here into the root chakra, helping you to feel grounded and safe. But if you are really scared of uncertainty, I completely understand. It's a very understandable thing to be afraid of. Often, as humans, we'd rather experience certain danger than uncertain challenges. We would rather face that certainty of a familiar, whether it's pain or discomfort or disrespect. Maybe you'd like to stay engaged in some kind of a relationship, friendship, work, family, romantic or otherwise, because even if it's not serving you, even if it's uncomfortable or not a supportive relationship, maybe it's even a painful relationship emotionally in some way, whether you're being disrespected or whatever it is, you'd rather stay in those relationships than brave the unknown, right? So what I'm encouraging you to do is to try to find a safe space within yourself, so that you can trust yourself in moments of uncertainty, trust your own resilience, trust your abilities, trust your discernment, and then you can, swerve and pivot and bend and not break. Coming through, I'm just going to send some Reiki into the soles of your feet here. Your feet are a great way of grounding, connecting you to the earth. So if you can align yourself with that sense of grounded, supported energy, as if roots are splaying outward underneath the soles of your feet out into the earth beneath you. That you are grounded, you are whole just as you are, you are safe and protected. That can be so helpful in your healing. Trusting your intuition is about learning to have a conversation with yourself. Certain things that you can do to reconnect. I'm coming into the sacral now. Certain things that you can do to reconnect with your intuition. It's more about cessation. I would encourage you to stop asking everybody for their opinion and advice. Now, this doesn't mean that we shut ourselves off to the impact we have on others or that we shut ourselves off to collaboration. But when we are working on our intuition, we have to remove the crutches of, external kind of validation and external seeking in the external for the answers, and start turning those questions inward. So what are the questions that you have? When we try to formulate questions for our intuition, if you've been ignoring your intuition, if you haven't had this dialogue, maybe you haven't engaged in yin practices, things like journaling, a gratitude practice, connecting to moon cycles, if you haven't connected to this side of yourself, and all of a sudden you expect it to show up and give you all the answers when you're in a tight spot, no relationship is going to appreciate that. It feels like you're using your intuition. So instead, we want to develop a relationship with our intuition, develop a relationship from this very gentle space. Meditation is a wonderful way of doing that. Connecting to the third eye, imagining roots going out from underneath you, balancing all of your chakras. Connecting to divine, understanding that we are all part of the great oneness. Transcendental meditation can be so helpful for connecting to our intuition because it allows us to remove ourselves from our current state of worry, to ascend that and start to recognize all the patterns, recognize people that exist now and that have existed over the course of the universe, the history of this planet. It is very esoteric. It is unfathomable. And so it's an inner knowing that's not based on logic. It's sort of like the high priestess in tarot. The energy is one that's very much about inner guidance, almost a real detachment from the opinions and perspectives of others on the way that you should conduct yourself. You have all the answers within you, because within you is a connection to all that is on the outside as well. So it is a departure from logic, a departure from the rational mind. It is a practice in trust. It is a practice in connection to spirit. It's a very deep practice. It's not one that can be pinned down. It's not one that can be really explained in a way. You have to experience your intuition. You have to be in the experience of it. But if we constantly seek reassurance from others, if we constantly seek the validation of others, when we are healing and balancing our intuition, what we're doing really is cutting ourselves off from our intuition, cutting ourselves off from the very thing that we seek. You have all the answers. We don't need to change right now. This is not a time of growth and development. This is a time of looking inward for the answers. Looking inward for the answers. I'm just doing some further hands-on healing. Here in the solar plexus, we're going to be doing some solar plexus and sacral and solar plexus here, just balancing, helping you to balance, to feel connected. Slow your breathing, my dear, you're doing a good job. So if the idea that you want to make sure you're doing things right, if that idea is hard for you to release, then you really know that this work is part of your path. This has found you at the right time in order for you to call in that healing. You are brave, you are strong, you are powerful. Here in the solar plexus, we validate that part of you, but also you don't need to tether yourself to the answers that other people have found for themselves. This is about carving your own path, discovering what makes sense for you. This is about wisdom, not knowledge. This is about intuition. This isn't about logic. So it might not make sense, the answers that you find to other people. But when you sit with that decision, how does it feel in your body? Starting to be aware of the difference between excitement and nerves, excitement and fear. Really connecting to what is that pure emotion, what is underneath it. Now if you have I'm just placing my hands on your rib cage just so we can really solidify. It's a very empowering gesture, this. It feels very supportive to have someone place their hands on your rib cage. I'm just gently placing my hands here, but how does it feel? Does it feel, not this gesture, but I mean, how does whatever if you've sought an answer and you have it and you're sitting with it, how does that feel for you? You'll have to practice it. It took me years to start to have that sensation of that I was calm enough to be able to hear the words, because in a choppy sea, you're not going to be able to, recognize the wake from a boat. In a choppy sea, everything seems chaotic. But in a still water, you can notice a droplet. It's, if you can start to still your mind, it is a process of regulating your nervous system through support, showing up for yourself, providing yourself with the support that you need, whether that's through yourself or seeking out the support that you need from others. But most of my sessions here are about regulating the nervous system in some way. So you can receive any of my sessions here if that's helpful to you. Oh, that sounds nice. This is an apple cider candle. So I'm going to go ahead and light this candle and we'll set our intention here. So that sounds really nice to me. If you are at the very beginning of your journey with connecting to your intuition, I would suggest that you use some esoteric tools. Oh, that smells so nice. Look at this. It really smells like apple cider. So what you can do is, using a pendulum is so helpful for connecting to your intuition. You have to set your pendulum, and I would suggest that you use it for 30 days every day. You don't have to use it for very long. You can just ask a few questions in the morning or in the evening. But what I would suggest that you do is have that pendulum with you. You program it and start to say, show me yes, show me no. And just start to pay attention to what those are, and then it'll set itself for you. And then that will be your yes and your no. But I think I'm going to be listing some of these products on my web shop. So if you're interested in that, we'll see. I think I definitely have crystals and things that are going to be going up on my web shop. But yeah. Connecting to a practice with a pendulum, you can even tie like a ring to a string and program it like that. But asking it questions every day, asking it questions is really helpful. All right, so we'll go ahead and begin our intention here, setting our intention on behalf of your highest, wisest, most empowered, most aligned self. In loving comfort and in perfect balance, I wish to conduct this Reiki session for helping you to soothe your nervous system, regulate it, and really develop a strong relationship with your intuition. Developing a strong relationship with your intuition so that you are able to call on your intuition. Call on your intuition when you have need of it. So it's there. You can trust your intuition. It's the quiet voice. It's not the voice of worry or panic. It's a quieter, more subtle voice. It's gentler, it's softer, I've noticed. It's not rushed. Coming through with this lavender smudge stick and just releasing, helping you to release, to clear and cleanse. Your intuition is gentle and quiet, supportive and calm. It's not in a rush. It's not in a rush. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen quickly. I will often have, I've always been very good at immediately reading something or someone saying, I got a feeling about this. And I would often, because of my dysregulated nervous system, I would often override that and kind of beat myself up in the process. Oh, you're so judgmental, Anna. Why can't you just, I would be very judgmental of myself. Which was ironic because I was judging myself for being judgmental. But anyway, it was really profound when I started going, no, your intuition isn't about finding evil people or whatever. I don't think they are, I think most people are just doing what they can, doing the best that they can. And it's just sometimes your objectives or your wants don't align. And sometimes if someone feels, you don't have to go into it, but you know what I mean? I believe most people are kind and, are doing their best, I believe. Most people are doing their best. But I do think your intuition tells you, is this for me? Right? It's not about saying that person is evil or bad or they're this or that. It's just more about, is this for me? Is this part of the life that I am envisioning for myself? And that way, it doesn't have to feel like judgment, like you're casting judgment on someone, you are not worthy, or whatever, or a circumstance, you're not worthy of me. Your intuition isn't really about that. It's about, is this the door through which your dreams lie? And if not, okay, then we'll go looking for another path. We'll search for a different door. There are always more options than you think. There are always more choices. If you feel that you are caught between two paths, just pause for a moment. Pause. The art of the pause. Take a pause. You don't need to rush. You don't need to rush. You don't need to rush. We're going to come through with this selenite wand to help you clear and cleanse any energy that's not serving you. Crown to toes and back up again. Crown down to your toes. One more time. So the process of regulating your nervous system is really important. It's a very important process, but it's a process, so trust the process. Take your time. These things take time, and time is a wonderful healer. Prioritize your well-being. Prioritize your inner healing. Doing this work is really empowering and really important. I know that as you dedicate your time to this, where your attention goes, your energy flows. As you dedicate your attention and your time to developing that relationship with your intuition will grow stronger. It's like a muscle. It will grow stronger. It will become louder and more confident. It will be a voice that soothes you. It will be about, it sort of turns you in the direction that you should be focusing. It doesn't give you the answers, but it gives you clarity. It doesn't give you certainty, but it might shine light on ways in which you are blocking yourself. So clarity, trust, and self-love, those are going to be wonderful practices for you and resources. You are divine. You are connected and intuitive. You are expressive. You are loved. You are strong. You are creative and emotionally balanced. And you are safe. You are safe and protected. You are grounded. You are whole just as you are. I hope you found this session helpful. Take really good care of yourself, okay? Take really good care of each other. And until we meet again, be so well, okay? Namaste.